Well, here we go. We have no intro tonight. Well, it'll be on the YouTube version. The intro will be there, and the closing music will be there. You get no special effects on this. Is JetBlue of podcasting.
JetBlue, nice.
Well, welcome to another week of Gaming the Formed Opinion. I think we have a good, fun, exciting night of debate or discussion on topics about gaming, gamers, etc., whatever. I am Don. I'm Don, also known as Scrivean. My co-hosts are Steve, known as Godmocker, Duane, known as Grireaver.
Hey, it's me.
And this is Gaming the Formed Opinion. This is episode 9. We're almost at 10, and that's freaking awesome.
Woo!
So can you just tell the excitement in the air? We're getting there. We're building up.
If we could just get past the sound issues, that would be fantastic.
Yeah. I'm waiting for the massive donations to come in, which allow us to get, build the Game Breaker studio.
Oh, yeah.
That's probably going to happen tonight.
And hire a producer.
Pretty confident.
Well, Star Citizen keeps getting millions and millions and millions of... Do we need to do a Kickstarter?
We might.
To start a competitor to Game Breaker?
Why not? I don't know if I would,
studio.
Can we just be friends?
I think isn't Kickstarter all or nothing?
Can we just be friends?
Yeah, I've been.
I don't know how Kickstarter works really.
Maytel Cohen, she's a drummer, and she just recently did that thing, man, and she put a little video up on her Kickstarter page, basically saying, "All I need is $60,000 to do this first album," and you could actually go to her Kickstarter page and just watching the money click, 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 click. I mean, people just donating like a son of a bitch.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's the smart thing to do, man, if you want other people's money.
We could start selling gold just exclusively to Godmocker.
Not anymore.
Cut out the middleman.
I'm telling you what, I've been cutting back in a big way because student loans hit me January 14, so when they come, no more buying of anything. Food, barely.
Nice.
All right, so who should we start with tonight?
Duane.
Oh, this is going to be good. I'm ready for
dun.
this. Duane.
It's me.
Topic 1 for the night, gaming.
All right.
Opinion.
So, topic 1 for the night is PvP, which is something I've been looking to find a topic on, and this one sort of fell to me, and I really appreciate it. So, what I want to talk about tonight is what seems to be the issue in PvP, where PvP players don't actually complete PvP objectives. They have a tendency to just, run around and get stuck wherever the closest middle location between the 2 spawns or 3 spawns is. Usually that's where you find a large group of people just killing each other or being killed incessantly and not actually performing the objectives. And then, as your team begins to lose, you find some of those same people. Usually the people who are having a bad game, I find, have the most time to type. But usually some of those people find themselves raging in the chat, and instead of God forbid someone say something constructive but you can't because nobody will listen, right? But I just wondered what you guys thought. Why do you think that PvP players don't do PvP objectives? And then we can talk about the rage secondary because it's just inherent in the game.
you'd have to pick a game first because even though it's
No,
I
gosh,
do anything. I think it's in
please,
every
this
game.
spans
Shit.
shooters, consoles, any kind of PvP game. Anytime you're playing against another player, you will find people not doing the objectives, and you will find people raging in chat. So you can't really narrow it down in any way, shape, or form.
well,
Like,
the
I don't know a
Neverwinter.
game.
The one thing I noticed in Neverwinter I'd never seen before was because the Neverwinter your starting point is up off the ground. You can't get to. You have to jump off the ledge when the PvP starts. Is that in the beginning there were assholes that would spawn and they'd realize that maybe you were getting zerged, because you were up against basically objective players, and so these guys would just sit up there and camp out. They'd camp out next to the spot and just not do anything and wait and get the credit for going into the PvP zone without actually doing any of the PvP.
I've seen that in every game.
Yeah, they cured that. You're not allowed to do that now.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, damn, I forgot Star Wars. They added the timer. You can only be in the starter zone for a certain amount of time. And the thing that sucks is I get worried because, it's my own fault. You respawn, you're behind the shield, and you're like, okay, cool, I'm going to catch the shield, I'm going to get out of here, and then somebody types something to you, like from the guild or something, and you start answering, and you look up at the shield reset, and you're like, no!
And then you look like a camper.
I'm going to make it out with like 2 seconds to get out when
Or
the
you
shield
get that
jumps.
15-minute deserter. That one's good, but it can be that happens. It's happened to me lots of times.
I think talking about what Grireaver means, this is something that I've been getting pissed at this week because I've been hitting my PvP and Rift pretty decently, I guess. And what I found is the same thing. There are 7, 8 different PvP areas now or Warfronts, or even the Conquests. And you go in there, and people just don't know the strategy. And that's just it, though. If you start telling people the strategy, that's it. You get flamed.
You can't tell
And
somebody the strategy in a game like that.
It's like, look, you can do this. For example, an extreme example, you can do this Warfront. It's designed. You can win it without killing anybody. And if you do it the right way,
you mean
it's
like capture
faster.
the flag or something?
It's faster, and you get more valor.
Yeah,
They
but
don't
see,
care.
now you're moving into the zone of doing the objectives too good. Like, you don't want the PvP objective to be so the objective that
there's
you
always
do no killing, right?
No, there's going to be killing.
But on that lines, when you were talking about Star Wars earlier, I was thinking about this earlier. Star Wars is a really good example of people doing the objectives too well. Like, Ilum. Forget Hutball. What about Ilum? Remember, Ilum, the objectives were so much more efficient to just do them in a way that didn't involve you actually having to fight other people.
Oh, that's true.
That was where they built the system to where you could perform the objectives to a point where you didn't actually want to PvP, and that was a broken. It doesn't exist anymore because it was broken. But I thought that was a stark contrast to this topic because in that situation, you really do the objectives too much. That's the whole point. You go out there.
Well, the Neverwinter, I think has been different, though, don't you think? As far as, completely different from Star Wars and, well, before Neverwinter, my last PvP, man, that was maybe Firefall a little bit. But they're completely different concepts. The Neverwinter, I still blew it. I have to admit, you knew that you were going to get owned when the 3 objectives or your three camps, 2 of the 3 are already, enemy owned, and you can barely hold on to the one that you got to. You knew that you were up against people that said, okay, we're going as a 5-man team. 3 of these guys have specific jobs that they knew exactly what they were supposed to do, and they constantly did them the entire thing. They didn't stop and say, I'm going to go take out this half-alive, enemy over here. I'm heading to my objective, and bam, 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 and we're still winning through point alone, not through PvP.
Well, do you think that maybe the developers design it that way? If you think about it, I went searching this week, through the Rift forums, trying to find, and in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, how would I write a PvP guide? It would not be class specific because you never know what you're going to get. But I would have a map up showing you what all the objectives are worth, how you do them, and how you can effectively, as a 10-man team or a 15-man team, or in Conquest is 40, how you can effectively win the map. And I was like, that's how I would envision a PvP guide. And there are none like that. And I'm wondering if the devs do that. They put it out there. I mean, because when you go in, you can go into the Warfront in Rift, or you can go into it in Star Wars and anything else. And they tell you, I mean, you know the basic rules: hut ball, score. Okay, Void Star, get through the doors and destroy the thing. So you're either on offense or defense. I mean, so you know the rules going in, but people still just, Void Star, you'd find yourself people just fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting. It's like, hey, they're not even defending. After a while, no one's even defending the other door.
It's pretty much, I think it's more subliminal than that, because they specifically chose the enemy team's nameplates to always be red, right? And everyone knows that it seems to be throughout all the bulls too, right? If you see red, you have to kill that. It doesn't matter what you're supposed to be doing. If you see red, you kill, right? Like anytime, that's what you see. You always see red. It's cliche.
I think they're adding those different points though. When you have the different instead, okay, now Duane, don't give me shit. Like games like Lineage 2, which yes, they're old. But
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, the PvP, that was just what you did. The game was based. It wasn't a questing game. It wasn't like you had quests where you had to do class stuff, like class changes or shit like that. But the whole world was a giant, arena. You didn't get really anything out of it except the satisfaction of killing an asshole you wanted to kill. Now, what I'm seeing in these games now, especially like with Neverwinter or with Star Wars or stuff like that, they're saying if you get a specific, if you kill more than the other person, or if you've actually killed somebody, you might get a few points of some kind in one area. But there's this whole stack of different things that you can points or achievements you can attain if you get to a point in a certain amount of time, or if you're able to hold a point for a certain length of time. They're taking away, instead of completely taking away the aspect of killing other players, they're saying, okay, you can kill other players in this area, but we're going to throw in all kinds of cool objectives that you need to achieve that will get you higher and higher points. And I think they did that to bring in the people that freaking just hate PvP.
Well, I'm wondering, and I was thinking what about, and I think one of the things maybe that contributes to it is not expanding. I mean, you would have to set up, if I wanted to be a serious PvPer and I decided, screw this, I'm going to lead in PvP, I'm going to take charge in every war front. And if you could, but the thing is, you can't.
You can't.
But some games are allowing you to do that, because, like in Star Wars, you can PvP with a group of 5 or 4 or whatever, and you can go do stuff. But you could do ranked, and in ranked PvP, you form an entire team.
I'd form a team anyway.
No, but you can't. You can only go in ranked with a full team. Other than that, you're limited on the size you can go in, so that you don't overpower all the other randoms. But the ranked PvP is full form teams against full form teams, and I'm wondering if maybe that's the thing that you can do in games, because you're assuming, or I assume, if I go into ranked PvP, if Tempest was in Star Wars and we were PvPing, and we had an 8-man team that we were going in with, or a 12-man or whatever, 15, that we're all going to be on team speak. And somebody's going to be in charge, and they're going to say exactly what they want done, and the team's going to go do that, and you're going to play effective, and then you're going to counter. And the way I look at this is, think about, Conquest and Rift is kind of just hordes zerging around, capturing these gathering machines, and kind of hoping that your team is better equipped than the other team, and when the zergs meet, one dies, the other lives, and then when the number of kills drops down. But I'm sitting there thinking, what could Conquest be if the game could support the voice over IP stuff, where you had a commander and a rank structure, even like in Guild Wars 2, where you've got the squad leader, the commander. You can give a command to everyone. Now the problem with Guild Wars is the same thing. 100 in a battleground, you have a 100-person cap, but you can't go in with a 100-person team.
Right.
I tell you what, if you could go in with a 100-person team and somebody in charge who could see the map, that would be awesome freaking PvP.
Yeah, you're going to
figuring all 3 teams were like that.
Yeah. Well, I think you're right.
Amazing.
I think a lot of the problem with random battleground PvP is that you get in and it's you and 10 other random people, and there isn't really a leader. And if somebody steps up to try to lead, their first call better be exactly what everybody else wants to hear, or it's
Here
not.
come the flame.
or be successful.
And even if it is, there's going to be that other person who's like, oh, I'm going to do this, because somebody always pipes up, like, And I think this is probably a good segue into the rage half of the question, because that somebody pipes in, and somebody tries to take charge, and then you get. You get people that just I'm going to go over here just because you said go there.
In Rift last week, they kicked the raid leader out. They vote kicked him out of the conquest.
Out of the conquest.
What was he doing?
Because they didn't like. No, he was being fine, but he was trying to tell people to do it. I mean, like Greer said, he was the commander. He was assigned randomly by the computer, whatever.
Right.
And there were 3 other generals who wanted the lead. And it's that group mentality. Somebody said vote kick, and the Twitch thing was, oh yeah, sure. And they didn't probably even pay attention to what's going on.
Of that.
And they just boom, gone.
I'm guilty of that. I have to admit it.
Like,
if I see a vote kick, I usually just say sure. Sure, get it rid of it. Oh, it was me. Shit.
Is it different then? Should serious PvP players basically just go to open world PvP games?
Yes. I am 100% voting yes.
That way
I mean, if you're serious, you need to be.
If you're a serious PvP
on a
game,
team to do it right.
Right.
But I mean, I think like they could, like maybe if they had like like they always have like a battleground leader, like in WoW or Rift. You're like you get picked as the leader, but it's obviously always someone random, so people don't give that very much kudos. But like maybe if there was like a way like to upvote leaders, like use like a little Reddit tactic, and you could like this guy led and he was good. But again, it's really up to whether or not.
Well, you're going to have people in there who are just going to be a douche and just down check him just to do it.
Even if you really
the other teams.
And maybe there shouldn't be a downvote. You know what I mean? And it just be based on an upvote or a no vote type thing. You know what I mean? Like
you're all
obviously
fighting the
you can't
beast,
put
man.
a downvote in because people are stupid.
You're all fighting the beast of anonymity for these players.
Yep.
You're not going to be able to do any of these things that you're talking about. You're going to have the very unusual event of getting a full group or a majority of a group of players who think the way we do when it comes to the team aspect, and there's somebody that knows what they're doing. Let's listen to them and follow their instructions and move on, and we will win. But but when you got random drop of players popping into a zone, like say if you have the queue, if your game is a queue, and your pops, I think I'm going to do a little PvP today, and I'm going to hit the PvP queue, and I'm going to pop into whatever, and you get random dudes, you are forever going to fail on this aspect.
You're right, because there are people in every game who are in the game to PvP. They don't care about rating, crafting, anything.
Correct.
Unless it benefits their PvP.
And that's why some games will try to force you to do it.
Yeah.
Because they get pissed. I mean, I get mad.
Well,
and I'm like semi-serious.
Yeah, that's
but the
like
game forces you to do it.
I lost the keyboard. I lost the keyboard because of that.
He did, because of PvP. But that's what I mean. Like, I think the rage, obviously it stems from, like, I had a couple thoughts. Like, obviously nobody likes to lose, right? That's like your basic, it's basic. That's, there's nobody that wants to lose. I've never met somebody who's like, I really like to lose. Like, it doesn't exist.
I think in the spirit of gaming in America today, we need to go to PvP and just not keep score.
Yeah, that sounds silly. But then I think, like, you get people in there and they have the knowledge to be like the leader. You know what I mean? Like they know what to do, but they lack the people skills. And
That's
so
right.
their ability to communicate that knowledge is terrible, and they lose their mind trying to get it across to you.
Not to mention that if this guy that's trying to do that is from, say, Norway,
right,
or a Swede, because when they get pissed, it's almost worth the hassle of harassing them because you don't really care. This is what I'm saying. You get your flamers on these things, man, and they have absolutely no care whatsoever what your objective is or what your level of expertise in the area of what you're doing is. They don't care. To them, the anonymity gives them this superhuman feeling. I can do whatever hell I want. I can say whatever hell I want. Fuck you people. I'm going to do this. So kick me if you want to. I don't care.
Absolutely. And that's what I mean. This really ties back into like our current gamer etiquette topic, because, and that's what it comes down to.
For us,
this is tolerated, and that's why it's okay. And it really it's never going to stop until we and the company that runs whatever company it is that runs these games decide that it's not something that we accept anymore. Because majority, don't you just ignore it? I mean, I don't report or vote kick everybody I see talking shit. Usually I just ignore them, and it's simple. But maybe it's time. Yeah, well, really in general, but I mean in PvP most, because you don't have as much downtime. If you're raiding is kind of notorious for this for the rage too. Rage quitting and raiding and PvP are sort of go hand in hand.
I can imagine what Warcraft.
But you Warcraft. It's a little different in raiding because you have lots of downtime to talk to each other. Sometimes it escalates faster. It's harder to ignore because you're running back from the boss and you have nothing to do but be like, why did you freaking do that? And so I think it's a little harder to ignore sometimes but that's obviously that's not random either. That's when you're raiding with a group of people that you're talking to.
Next week we're going to have to talk. Right. Next week or one of the other weeks we're going to have to talk about the whole PvP server issue thing. Because I got to get a group together so we can do that repopulation hardcore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I agree.
We're gonna have to
recruit a group. Up. I registered with the damn thing. Okay, so I'm waiting for what
Mocker and I and anyone else we can get.
It's going to be you and I for Arcades too. I don't think anybody's going to play that.
No. If you look at the forums, we had somebody for Arcade. Somebody's waiting for Arcade too. So.
Well, anyway, I think on your response though, Duane, I think it's a little different. Say if I'm guild leader, like if someone came to me during Terra and said, hey, Scrivean was acting like a complete douche when we were doing this, and I would have been like, well, okay, tell me why if I would have cared.
He's like that.
Yeah, he's like that, but you got to accept that about Scrivean. But if I was going to deal with that, though, guild-wise, I think, of course, it's going to be probably a little different because you're going to have just like with TGC, our TGC website and our leadership deals with people who act like jack-offs, and it doesn't matter if it's TS etiquette or game etiquette. If someone's coming to us and saying so-and-so is acting in a certain way that you don't like, and it just so happened to be PvP, I think it would still be handled the same way.
I think so.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's, like I said, that's our policy.
I've got a tumor, or you got lighting issues
flickered.
going on?
Yeah.
I thought I had a tumor. It's like, okay, here it comes.
It just flickered. That's weird. All right, well.
I'm losing consciousness.
You might be having a seizure.
That's good.
You might be having a seizure, so let's time out.
What do you got for us this week, Steve?
I didn't pick a specific topic except for the fact that I wanted to go over my experience, because I'm sure there's people, whoever's listening is going to, some. I want to talk about my re-intro into Rift.
That's a good one, actually. I mean, a lot of people doing that.
What a painful experience this has been for me. It is. I mean, you can roll into the whole thing about, well, what's it like when you've been out of a game for a shitload of time, like say a year, and suddenly the game gets a reboost or gets a kick in the ass of new content, and you're thinking, okay, because like myself, I got 15, 16 games installed on this son of a bitch as far as MMOs. And you think, okay, and Scrivean's aware that I've been resisting this. I've been resisting it as much as possible. And I remember when I logged into Rift for the first time here, the beginning of the week, or last weekend, actually, I just felt so overwhelmed because it's not like rolling into the game. Because normally, my normal behavior when I'm going back to a game like this is I'm going to roll a new tune, and I'm going to go through that long-ass process of leveling just so that I can get the recoordination back on what keys I'm hitting, get my macros back up, and say, okay, and then when I get to where I'm comfortable, I'll pop over to my highest levels and say, okay, now I'll hit the new content. Well, I just went straight into my 50s because that's all I've got now are all these 50s. And shit like, oh, man, I opened one right off the bat that still has me perplexed on what to do is like Godmocker, the rogue I've got in Rift, my inventory was packed. When I stopped playing Rift the last time, my inventory, my bags on my tunes, and my bank was completely packed full of shit I had absolutely no idea what to do with. And I remember seeing things in it that were very expensive and cost me a lot of money, stuff that Akimiota had gave me, the stones he gave me, and I don't know what to do with them. This has nothing even to do with the complete theory crafty that I've got to do on these builds now. You know, but I wanted to ask if anybody else was going through this, even if it's Rift or anything else that you're doing. You know, what has your experience been like reintroducing yourself to a game that you were? I mean, we were raiders. We were big raiders in Rift, for crying out loud. We were progressive, and here I am. You know, the game feels like, okay, I'm a bit familiar with the sounds and the movement and all that, but I don't have any idea where the hell I'm supposed to go. I don't know what I'm supposed. It took me 2 days to figure out how I'm supposed to get to the new continent that you're supposed to go.
It's surprising. Like, I mean, obviously, we're all really doing the same thing in Rift, and I'm sure we all went through but that's. It doesn't seem like that much has even changed since I last played, but it was really hard to get reacclimated to it. And, you know, it's daunting. Rift is a daunting game. Like, the leveling is not super fast. And, you know, I don't mind gear grinding. What scares me in Rift is the source engines. Like, that, I think, is like, I mean...
But you can buy that shit now. Did you open up the shop and look
I've
at that?
seen some of the stuff, but that stuff, were, you know, that was always the worst part. You spent, you know, I mean, I had my gear for weeks and weeks, and I was still out running and grinding out Inscribed Sourcestone back in the day to finish out my...
Well, for raiding, though, you're actually... You can't buy the highest end raid gear.
No, but did you see the stones? You said like vile source stones and shit like that. Did you open up the currency on some of those things and see how many it was? I mean, I was like, holy shit! Every stone that drops in this game is some form of currency now that you can buy gear and items and shit.
Yeah.
They've always had a lot of currencies, and they haven't really.
It's a little more. It's
less.
The store shows you
a lot.
Yeah.
Well, I'm actually 51 now. I got a level. I got the level. You know, 51.
That's the hardest one.
Had like it's funny that this was what you wanted to talk about though, because today I was logged into WoW this morning, and the person that I came to Rift with, like, it was me and like 2 other people that started playing Rift before I joined Tempest, whispered me through the battle tag today, like, "Hey, what's up, man? I'm about to reinstall, and you know, I got Mr. Bandaria," and like, so I was actually, you know, like, I hooked him up with some bags and some glyphs, and like I was talking to him through some of the little changes, and like I was like, hey, you know, Icy Veins is a really good place to look up all your, you know, to get like a feel for what your class is, and like so it's funny that this is your topic, because that's actually what I spent the morning doing, was just sort of walking him through the initial basics of the game, and so I mean, you know, that's it, and you know, he played WoW for a lot of years, like we all did, and mostly it's the same. But you know, it's just them little subtle differences that like throw your eye off. You're used to seeing something here, and now it's here, and it just, you know, I think it's pretty cool how that happens, actually. Like, it kind of made Rift like a new game for a minute. It's actually a little frustrating when it's a game you already played, but I mean, that's why we play so many new games. Like, I kind of like the discovery process of figuring out how to play again.
Yeah, you know? But see, the wave of reminders, especially the theory crafting on the DPS shit, I'm telling you, I was really feeling, I was getting very pissed, because nobody seems to be able to. I've got the meters, I got the DPS meter, I even updated the new one that Georgie told me to. Georgie said, get the greater one or the bigger, whatever the hell that's.
Super meter.
Right.
Super meter, yeah. So I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, okay, now if you watch some of the video, like I got a couple videos that I went to help building that one DPS build for that rogue. That guy's meter, man, was reading ridiculous numbers. I mean, ridiculous numbers. He was like 100-something thousand DPS kind of shit it was reading. I'm thinking, okay, you've got it set. It has to be building on itself. There's nothing that
seems like.
I couldn't believe what and so I even wrote the guy. I even went to his channel and said, "What the fuck, dude? What is this meter? What are you doing with this meter?" And he asked me about my gear. I said, "You could. I don't care what gear you put on me. I'm not going to hit 100,000 DPS."
You know how much damage you do on a rogue. We've seen it. It's top 100.
Oh, you're talking about my subtlety?
Wow.
My subtlety. Hey,
just
if you want to bring that up, just a little tag that my rogue, Blademocker, is in the top, what is it? The top 25 in the world?
Gosh. No, I don't know.
80.
It's the
You're
top
like
whatever.
You're lying!
I'm like the first raid boss ever of the tiers.
Hey, I'm on the fucking logs. That's all I care about.
But, so what you were talking to the guy, and you're saying well,
I'm talking about the DPS. One of the frustrating things I came across with this was that the build is specifically meant to take up for the rogue anyway, and this is the dual dagger wielding rogue build, or basically an assassin build, which I will change a lot when you hit 60. But this is the leveling DPS assassin build, and he says it's specifically designed to take out one mob at a time as fast as possible, which he's correct. Which, even though I'm not familiar with it, just exactly how fast something would be killed when I haven't been in the game for so long. But as the DPS meter was rolling, once I realized that, you know what, and I've already, give me a cash shop. I tell you what, I should have talked about cash shops, because I'm the world's biggest sucker, and Scott's he's gonna be familiar with this.
I know when you hit 60, this guy is gonna buy like 4 full sets of gear.
Well, I blew $20 on
that's not cheap.
I blew $20 on that level 50 bundle you can get in the gear, which I was kind of pissed because I'm wearing
a level 50 bundle. That sounds terrible.
Well, I didn't say level 50. They don't give you a level. It just says this is a bundle of gear you can get. And I was wearing all that green scale rate gear.
Green scale.
Yeah, I'm thinking, okay, this isn't going to be close to. It blew all my shit away when I put all that gear on. I'm like, God,
that's good.
So
well,
I'm doing
they did say if you were raiding Infernal Dawn, and you had Infernal Dawn gear, you wouldn't need gear till you're like 54.
I mean,
you remember you were raiding the first tier of 3.
Yes.
Of raids. So
all those chests that kept dropping level 51 items, they weren't really much better than any of the hammer nail stuff that I had.
That's what I was saying.
I didn't until I got level 54 items. You know, they weren't better. So
that's about right.
Well, the guy that I was talking about in the video, the build video I was watching, he was level 53. And his gear looked considerably different, you know. But I mean, I was doing the DPS meter was reading after I made all these changes. I got the new gear because that bundle gives you 2 blue, and all gear is blue, and he gives you the 2 weapons as well.
Is it upgradable?
Yeah, every piece has got that. But I don't know where to get the stones to upgrade that shit.
It's in Tempest Bay.
But I'm hovering around the 2500 DPS level. After every kill, I've hit 3,000 a few times on some of the bigger mobs, and I'm not taking too much damage to be honest with you. It's surprisingly it's working surprisingly well, especially for me being so solo as I am when I do this. But no one can tell me what what the average good or mid to sucky DPS
I don't know
counts are.
Unless you get a theory crafter, you're not going to get the leveling data because they went right through it.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm going to end up hitting 60 without knowing what the hell.
Rift is one of those games where it has all the resources out there, but they're underutilized. Like, Rift Head exists, but it's not anything like WoW. It's the exact same thing. All the items are the same company, except nobody comments. So you know how you go to Wowhead and you're like, bam, first green text. That's how you do it. You know what I mean? There's nothing. There's no comments anywhere. Correct. And so every time you look up an item, you're like, all right, cool. Well, now I have
nobody's
the same tooltips that I had in game, and I can know shit about it.
That's right.
So I don't know what it is. The game has, like I said, it was gonna be so big, and I mean it is, and it's been a solid game, and it has access to all these resources, but all of them seem to fall apart. There's not like that place where you go look for builds. Like Scrivean gave me a site, and I went there, and they have 2 builds, and then I went to a different site, and they have 2 builds that they recommend, and then, I can't remember who it was that posted in our forums some builds, and their builds were different than either of the 4 builds that I look, and it's like, I have no idea which one's the best damage. I'm going to have to just figure it out by trying a couple, and that doesn't really bother me, but it'd be nice. Like, all right, this is one.
I'm a glutton for pain. I leveled as a tank, so yeah.
And I've got my tank in there. And matter of fact, what's different too is I told you about the bundle with the rogue. If you went to the equipment area and you were going to go ahead and blow, when I say $20, the bundle costs like 3,500 of those gems that you get, the green gems you can use.
Yeah, it's about 20. That's $20.
It's about $20, right?
$22, yeah.
Right.
I noticed it when I logged in as War Duke, and I went ahead and decided to log it. Nobody is talking about the warrior, at least what I can find, that is worth a shit on the DPS. And so I go to the bundle to see if what's worth, and they give you $20 a piece, of course. They have a tank, set of gear that they'll give you, and they have the DPS set of gear. And what's funny is that my DPS on my warrior back when I was playing was better than any other class I had, and it was the dual axe build. I forget what Rift Blade, not Rift Blade, or anyway. But now they're saying the bundle that it's given you. Just anybody who's playing Rift wants to know this. They'll fill all your weapon slots in this bundle. You know, like with my rogue, it gave me 2 daggers and a bow. You know, and with the warrior, it gave me a 2-hander, and then it gave me a single sword too, so I can swap. But it didn't give me a shield. The tank build had the shield.
I think to answer, or to talk about your specific topic, I think what you need to do is do what a lot of people have done, is get in with a guild. And now, of course, we were rebuilding in Rift, so...
Oh, I'm with this guild called TGC.
We have... Yeah. So we've got players, we got people who have played through the entire break we took. They've been playing since launch. So
Seriously?
they can answer the question. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah, we've got people in the guild who have not stopped playing.
But, okay, there's another aspect.
We've got a lot of... And so the other thing is to ask the question.
I can't hear you, Duane. You're muted.
Yeah, Greer, you're muted.
What the hell? Anyway,
Stop doing that.
I said tell Roa's in chat, and he said he's been playing since launch, and he was rooting you on to get your rift on Godmocker.
Who was?
Yeah.
Georgie?
Tell Roa.
Telroa, he's one of our...
Oh, Talroa. Okay, well, I'll have to get with him. Because that's one of the aspects I was talking about, this rolling into these new games you've been away from for so long. I have this tendency, when I'm doing that, is to avoid doing the exact opposite of what I should be doing. Because I can't have all this input, especially from TS, when I'm trying to figure... I still have yet to figure out my inventory, Rift, my bags, and shit like that.
Storm Legion, you got anything? I'm telling you, this is what I did over, leveling and hitting 60 just last week. Right?
Did you
a bite
really
at a time.
Suck?
Yeah, I'm running experts already. I'm saying take it a bite at a time. Work on, and I'm still, like yesterday was the first time, and I asked Telroa, who's in chat, to give us a quick write-up of rep, because the best trinkets in the game, the best capes in the game come from reputation. And then you can actually put runes now on your rings, your necklace, your trinket, your seal. So you can, and those are all reputation. So I was like, I don't understand. Is this just too much stuff?
It is. It's a lot.
So he wrote it up, and we found some other stuff and put it.
Did he write it up?
Yeah, it's in our forums. So,
I'm gonna have to.
but I'm saying take it. But I didn't clean my and I think I'm finished cleaning my bags out until day before yesterday.
I have to do it, dude.
I'm
My bags
slowly.
Because I found the two I found the two Grandmaster trainers I needed for my butchering and my outfitter.
Throw all of your pre-50 crafting stuff in the guild bank, because there are people still leveling it.
Oh man, I've got so many hides you would not believe. I got hides that could probably level somebody all the way to the.
Why sell it?
I got
I have a tremendous amount of Chromentium ore.
They said the new Rift, and I don't want to insult anyone, but I'm being told by people with 50s and 60s and thousands of plat. They said the new Rift community is lazy, and they don't like to gather.
They want to buy shit.
So they buy everything because they have so much plat. They just buy it. I bet you can make a good amount of money.
Well, I looked at some of the items that I knew back in the day were very high end. But shit, back when we were playing, 5 plat was like, holy shit, you got 5 plat? Wow. Unless you were Aki Miyoda, who took baths in plat.
Like 100 plat was like right around the average level. I feel like you were just really which is
I've
fine,
got 50, 60 plat. I'm saying that there were particular
cool,
items.
Man. You don't have to.
Yeah,
you don't have to throw out higher numbers because you felt bad. It's fine. I know you got like 5 plat. It's cool. Well, I'm gonna send you some when I log in. It's cool.
That's all right.
We're friends, bro.
Mocker's waiting for that currency, the MMO currency exchange. Saying, I've got 2
Absolutely.
billion Kina.
You know
I'd
what?
like to trade in for.
If they will let me, trust me, I've already had a couple conversations with some people, and I'm not letting them do it, but they want to, and very cheaply, and it's ridiculous amounts. I'm telling you. So I told them, I said, no, I can't do it because if anybody finds out, I'm going to catch shit. So I said, just chill out. And it was funny because the particular one, Tony. Tony told me, he laughed at me. He says, I'll see you in a few days. he goes, I'll see it in a few days.
Or I'll break your legs.
Because
You say
he
break your
knows
legs
what
or
it's going to
something
be like. Well, the whole multiple currencies in this Rift now is what's got me, that green gym shit. If I can, basically, I can buy, but you're right. I'm fully
With the
aware
Rex,
of it.
yeah.
Once I get the
It's-
60,
it-
it's going to be completely different.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's what, when I hit 60 and everyone was seeing the same thing, Rosilla said, welcome to Rift. When
Oh,
you hit 60,
yeah.
because it's like the game starts, as everyone.
Yeah, but she's got to do
Right.
Georgie, for fuck's sake,
Really?
She
puts up with him
Oh,
all
she
the time.
does
You
it,
can't
up
really
there with the
trust her
money.
judgment because
It's like
she
Isaac's
puts up with
borrowing
him.
money from her.
Yeah, but he was sitting there spouting. He had thousands of plat for crying out loud. It's like,
Not
well,
anymore. He was going to quit. He was going with us to one of the games we were doing. So he gave away all his plat.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
Now he's back.
Awesome.
All right.
Anyway, that was
My topic this week. I wanted, and this was sent in to me, and I don't have it open. But I'm going to talk about add-ons. What do you guys think about games with add-ons? The goods and the bad. The good and the bad.
You're going to bring up WoW, aren't you? WoW's the big one on that one.
Well, I mean, Curse right now has my Secret World, my Rift, my WoW, and we'll soon be getting Firefall from what I was reading today.
Did you use Star Wars add-ons too?
In SWTOR?
Yeah.
You don't think you could? I think they were blocked.
Yeah, they weren't very good at having systems in place for new stuff.
Yeah.
It's very basic.
So what do you guys
Very
think about?
basic.
I mean, what's your opinion of add-ons?
I think they're awesome. If you get the right ones. I mean, I used a lot of them in WoW, man. I had a bunch, but you end up removing and adding new ones when new content gets added to the game, and when people don't update those add-ons, they immediately turn worthless.
Well, I think another thing that comes in it is if the game company, the publisher itself, supports them being there. And I think I've seen articles where there interviews with developers who are saying, we think this is great. I mean, Secret World says it. They're like, we think this is great that they developed an add-on for this, because then we don't have to put resources to add this into the game because it works great. And so they do things like release the code so that they can do add-ons.
It makes good business sense. Why do it when other dudes will do it for free?
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, of course.
But I mean, add-ons in general. I don't have a problem with any add-ons that make the game convenient. All right, and I say convenient in that even with the boss mods, I don't really have with a lot of the boss mods. I don't have a problem with when an alarm going off or something flashing across my screen or changing color when a boss is doing something, because if it's in the chat, you know what I mean. So and so begins casting, Totem of Doom. All right. Well, if you're healing, you're not watching chat. You're gonna miss it. So
Right.
this thing just kind of gives you that,
Hell, if you're anything watching chat, I don't anyway.
or the pop up where you don't have it across your screen or whatever. I mean, that kind of stuff. The ones I think I might have an issue with are the ones that basically do. I guess it's only the combat stuff. Anything that would give you an advantage in PvP, I'm against.
I never even
Right,
knew
'cause
that
I
they
think-
had any for that.
Now, what do you consider? Do you consider that add-ons that shout out what the other team's classes are, so you know what you're up against? Or, I mean, what do you? I mean, are you just mean like
that one I would
it
probably
uses
say
my
not bad.
rotation perfectly for me and moves me behind the guy
That-
all the time?
That one.
And
I
That's
don't
the
even
one I'm
have to
talking about.
play.
It's the most dangerous cat.
It's the. See, I don't want to get into macros because that's a different thing.
Thank you.
Yep.
I mean, it's a completely different thing of writing macros to do everything for
Because
you.
Rift is a beast in that particular area.
Yeah, they do have them. I was talking about that. I mean, for a good example is the one that that Blizzard changed it so they couldn't use it anymore. It's the one that you actually could draw in the instance and say, okay, this is Godmocker spot right here, the
On
blue
the
one.
map,
This
yeah.
is Duane, on the screen, and it went to everyone in the raid. You say this is Grireaver's spot in phase 1. Now when it shifts to phase 2, make sure you just go to the same color dot.
I kind of dug that
Or
because,
area.
it made for people who aren't, say, Duane's or, Greers of the world who basically own a particular raid's step by step, from front to back of the raid. People like him and you are the only two people that I'm really fully aware of that we can go into
ones who
raid
read.
and right off the bat, Duane's like, all right,
Yeah.
this first boss, be sure you don't do this, go over here, do that, and stay away from this area. Oh, and please, God, don't go over here and do that. And, of course, stay the fuck out of the fire. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Now, if he's on the map saying, okay, when he does this, 75%, when the boss is at 75%, I want everybody, and draw your little, on the map over here. Everybody go here. See where I'm at? Not here. I could hear Duane doing it right now. I can say,
No.
over here. Not here.
No,
right here.
I probably wouldn't have a problem with an add-on that you could do if you did it. I mean, like a whiteboard. I mean, I think
Right.
the program we're using, XSplit, has a whiteboard on it. We could put it up, and I could John Madden all over the screen. But and I would probably be okay with that as long as it goes away when the fight starts.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. No. There was an add-on where the stuff stayed on the screen.
That would suck.
Well, that's what I was when we were talking about this a little bit the other day before tonight. That's what I said. There was an add-on that we used, and Telro said something in chat about hard mode putricide. There's an add-on that we used on. It was in the same raid. It was on what is it, Rot Face, whatever. Anyway, and it was we used it for like a week because it was somebody was like, hey, they're about to close this add-on down. They're going to make it stop working. And we're like, oh, why is that? And so we tried it out. And what it would do is, and I called it earlier in the week, I called it the WildStar add-on because it would put telegraphs on the ground. So like we used it on, I'm pretty sure it was Rotface. And he would do like an acid explosion. And then there would be little, he would throw like little acid bombs all over the ground. Right. And usually what you did is you just ran out to avoid it. But what this add-on did is it put a red circle on the ground where each one of those was going to land, and then you could just stand in between.
Avoid it. Yeah.
And that's, and it's very like rudimentary WildStar because it showed you, and there was still red dots all over the ground, but you could stand in between them. And then you could keep DPSing the boss instead of having to run out. Mm-hmm. And so, but they broke that because they didn't like that you could, that it was telegraphs like that. But I thought it was funny that now a game is coming out, and I know I probably shouldn't use that word for it because it's probably like copyrighted or something.
Yeah.
But
an email, cease and desist.
But yeah, that I thought it was funny that a game is coming out promoting that now. Like that was something that was broken previously. In Warcraft.
When you think about it, though,
it's going to be different.
About some of the, and I've seen it in Rift, I've seen it in WoW. I'm trying to think. I think Terra does visual tells, but they don't put it. Well, they do put stuff on the ground. Now you're seeing that in a lot of games. They're putting, this is the cone. This is the cone because most of you probably don't remember your basic math of what a cone is. And we're going to say it's 30 degrees to either side. And so we're going to put this big red cone on the ground.
Oh, you're talking about it. Yes.
They're putting the visual indicators in the
game.
But
they're the argument to that, and I read like a pretty good article on it actually, was that, and this is off topic, but the argument to that was that in doing that, you actually sort of create a different stress on the player. Like, okay, look, there's all this shit, and I see it's there, and I have to avoid it. And you know what I mean? And what that gives them the ability to do is create more complex bang, 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 back-to-back movement things where you're constantly moving all over the place. Because, I think it was a Massively article that I read, and they referenced an old game that it was probably like I remember playing it, and I don't know another game that has telegraphs, but it was Battletoads. And there's a map on the Battletoads where you're on like a bike, and like basically you're riding through this little 2-lane area, and cement is dropping in front of you, and ramps and all sorts of shit. And it gets to the end, and it happens so fast that if they didn't give you that split-second warning, it would be impossible. Like you wouldn't be able to complete it.
You wouldn't have the reflexes to do it, okay.
So you're talking about...
So they just... And I mean, at the end, it's just a split second. It's just enough for you to react. It's super stressful, and it's super hard.
My point was that the developers are adding in...
eyes and shit, right?
Yeah, the flashing eyes on the basilisk, or the BAMs, or the flashing, the little gleam off the sword that, he brings it back. The light catches it, bing! It's like, oh crap, I better block now.
Right. Okay, I got you.
So, I mean, it was one of the things that Terra talked about, like, you're going to need to learn all the tells, and I guess the raid boss in there. They said has like 30 tells,
Oh man,
Oh
yeah,
yeah, nice.
yeah. Some
and
of the
so
big
it's like
ones.
if you're gonna tank it, you better know exactly what they're
And,
doing
and
so you
I
can
rolled
react
a tank
properly.
on that, and when I was reading on them, they were talking about those specific tells, and they said that the guys who are the big tanks for those big, BAMs that are on those BAM bosses, I guess they die 30, 40, 50 times before they get all of those tells
Get it
down.
down.
Yeah, and then they
Oh yeah,
don't
when they're
die
testing it
anymore.
out, yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot. No, I
So
mean
okay,
that was like a,
now we've
you
talked
know,
mostly PvP, PvE. I want to talk about some of the other ones that are in there for convenience. Like any of the stuff, like WoW, one bag I used. Rift, I tried to use
Awesome.
one like that, didn't work. Where it consolidates your inventory,
Yeah.
auto sorting,
Yep.
auction
Those are the
house
ones I
add-ons
used.
for buying and selling,
Yes.
economic stuff.
The
I
rare
mean, it's not
rare
doing it.
mob find, I had that one running
Rare
all the
mob finders,
time.
map notes,
Map
those kinds of things.
coordinates, the ones that would put the coordinate
Coordinates,
thing
yeah.
over the map on the mini map. Yep, I
Waypoints.
used those.
so
Yeah,
what's the
I
most
think those are all
invaluable
fine.
one? Is it boss mods? What's your
it would have
most
to
like?
be
What's the
boss
thing
mods.
you have to have? Because there's not boss mods in every game, but every game that there's add-ons, you probably have a bag add-on. I mean, what's your like seriously the one you think you need the most? Because some of the games, the
Shit.
bag one, I'll
You know
tell you what,
The
like,
one I'm finding now that I like,
like
that I wish I had. I mean, they probably have it in WoW. The one I'm using in Rift right now, because the bag one doesn't work, is rolls.
yeah, it's only okay.
Because I can set up. Well, I've got 7 specs and 6 sets of gear based on PvP, PvE,
How many?
range, melee, tank.
You can have 20 now, right?
God.
You can have 20.
Oh my God.
Well, no. Well, I say that. I mean, if I have 2 healing specs, but I have to left click for PvP, right click for PvE, so it puts the right gear on. And then I've got my tank. I've only got 1 tank, and I should probably have 2 or 3. I just haven't looked at the other ones.
Well, WoW already has that, sort of has
I
the
don't
gear
even want to
manager
look
built
at it
in, right?
anymore.
But it's not quite the same.
That's me. You could just do 1 spec, you'd be set.
I mean, I
don't even
remember
wanna
when
look
that
at it.
in the secret world that became super invaluable when there was that
Well, yeah,
the
that's what I was
Viper
saying.
deck manager, yeah.
I
When
still
that first
use that.
appeared, yeah.
Yeah, and the other one I use in the secret world is I do have the it's not the is it well for them it was looking for group was the big one.
Yeah, but those are
They
a
didn't
lot.
have-
Those a lot of them have been integrated into the clients already. The
Mhm.
looking for group stuff.
So
Not
I
very
think
well,
overall,
by the way.
I think add-ons are good. I'm interested to see what they're going to do for Firefall add-ons, and I think the games are fun like that.
No, I mean, I think it's certainly made like just the it's customization, what you want to see on your screen, and they're not all for that obviously, but they are. They're all. I mean, it's essentially different ways to display information that you already have.
Especially
whatever,
your UI.
Whatever.
Well, that's a good
works
point.
for
The
you,
UI customization ones are good too because some people like the big color-coded, things happen in colors, and other people want the audio warning, and other people want the exact size boxes for every single
I
character.
need
Man.
little health bars because I'm tanking and I only need to see my own. And the
You
healers,
want to
or
you want to
the
see
healer-
healers need
extremes.
giant green bars all over their screen.
That's
like
what I'm
Red
saying.
in
If you
that
want to
weird
see
video.
extremes, man, look up a healer. Look up a high-end healer in WoW on YouTube and look at their UI, man. I have no idea how those dudes did that.
Check out our Primordia skill on
Yeah.
YouTube because Rev turned off his UI add-on. He had like giant default bars all over the screen. It was huge. It was like he was playing in like I don't know 1280,
Wow.
1280, 768. It was like he was playing. It was pretty
All
sweet.
right. Well, this has been good. Time's up.
I mean,
Aw.
Good discussion this week.
I'm telling you,
Was.
you've killed my desire to want to play Rift now.
I gotta go. I gotta do great riff hunts now. I got stuff
That's
to do
all right.
I
Like
haven't
I was-
even thought about queuing up for any of that shit.
Like I
Not
was saying, all
once.
Scriv has to do is log into Rift after we get off here when you're around, and you'll immediately buy like a subscription or some sort of thing.
Umacher?
Yeah.
No, I think
I know they
I
don't
think the
even
award
have
goes to
any.
Cirrhosis. Cirrhosis
That's true.
just bought his Firefall pack.
Him and you are
So-
neck and neck. I know. No,
I'm
he's.
telling you what,
I-
I've done it. I bought the thing for Final Fantasy 14, and I just blew all that money for a game that probably isn't going to come out for the Star Citizen. And I did it. I got to be honest. Yes, it's going to give me a ship, but there was one thing on there. The only reason I bought it was the insurance. the lifetime insurance on that thing, I thought, you know what? That
Tell you what,
alone
that game
was
is
worth
looking
the bunny.
fun.
Yeah,
First
man,
base,
you don't
though.
want to be that Eve player, and you don't want to be that guy who gets your 1 out of 3 in the entire world. Shit destroyed.
Yeah.
That shit
That's
ruined
I
week.
still think, I think that is, if you were involved with that, what a fantastic MMO story.
Yeah,
Especially if it was an
for
ambush.
the
If that was an
assaulting.
ambush,
Yeah,
it was
I wish we could get deets
holy crap.
on this story, because sending a fake distress signal and ambushing a rare ship
Barrier.
is pretty
Yeah.
fucking awesome. I mean, I
I'm
don't
telling you
know.
what, we should invite.
I don't even know what you could. I don't know how you can make it equivalent in any game.
Yeah,
How could you do that?
You can get information from Frankie. Let's get or November. Let's get
Okay.
November in here as an invite. I bet he'll tell us everything, because he is like ridiculously rich in that game, and it's one of his
Okay.
favorites. He could tell us
Was it
anything
his
you want
ship?
to know. I doubt it.
For real.
But he does shit. He does shit like that. That dude had told me stories that people like guilds would like put it at, like hits out on him or something like that. And he's so rich, he turned right around and say, "Okay, anybody that kills any of the people in this guild, I'll triple the reward they put out for me." And the guild just is evaporated because of what he did. We got to get him on here to tell shit like that.
That sounds good. Sounds good.
If you can,
All right, guys, have
an accent.
Works for me.
cool, man.
Again, I'm Don, also known as Scrivean. My co-hosts, Steve, Godmocker, and Duane, Grireaver. This is Gaming the Formed Opinion, episode 9. We'll be back next week. Maybe at this time. We're working with Greer's schedule.
Enjoy the
It'll be on
music on
Facebook
the
or
video
Twitter,
and the credits.
Twitter. Something.
Peace.
All right, see you, everyone.
When you wind up on me, one wine at a time. When you grind up on me, one grind is a crime. Looking at me eye, looking at me dread. One looking at me face, and you can't forget. Rude boy, throw your hands in the air. Lick away the dance, alone know that we don't care. Rude boy, with your hands in the air. Until morning come, we know where the party there.
Hey mama, la fiesta comenzó, vámonos a mi cama. Ese bautizo va a cambiar mi carada. Voy a hacértelo como hacer limonada. Fácil de preparar y no me dirás nada. Estoy arrepentido como fiesta pagana. Mi pana, no fuimos hasta mañana. Toda esa cara moviendo esa nalga. Y yo con mi cara te encuentro anal.
When me there with you, dime que te falta. Throw your hands in the air, mano arriba salta. When me there with you, dime que te falta. Throw your hands in the air, mano arriba salta.
Rápido, nítido, eso me dicen al charlar. Hábil con mi roto, eso me dicen al follar. Baby, batería, estoy listo para ser tu ma. Pero hands up, baby, coming hands up. Put your hands up, baby, put your hands up. Put your hands up, baby, put your hands up. Put your hands up, baby, put your hands up. Todo el mundo mano arriba, ya llegó el road boy. Put your hands up, baby, put your hands up. Put your hands up, baby, put your hands up. Put your hands up, baby, put your hands up. Todo el mundo mano arriba, ya llegó el road boy.
Baby, está rica, mami solita, tu cinturita, yo la quiero coger. Tica, tu mamacita, estás bien loquita, y nos vamos pa'l motel. Está rica, mami solita, tu cinturita, yo la quiero coger. Tica, tu mamacita, estás bien loquita, y nos vamos pa'l motel.
España girl can sing ragamuffin. Well, John Black say me wanna tell you something. Me say the España girl can sing dance hall. Me shoulders are like bullets, seguro no nothing at all. What them I want, shout yeah. Them I want, them I want school yeah. What them I want, chat yeah. Them I want, them I want roll yeah. Hands in the air.